Welcome to Our Money Chats. You can reach us on Twitter at Our Money Chats. You can also email us at ourmoneychats at gmail.com. Again, email us ourmoneychats at gmail.com. Today's topic is, should I go back to school? I feel that everyone should live in school. You should always be in school. And the only reason is because technology has now taken a huge role in our lives. You cannot avoid it. Your phones. How many people have a rotary phone at home or a wireless phone of some sort? Remember when you were really young and there were these cool phones that sat on a charger, and we thought we were just so wealthy if we were able to walk around the house with this cordless phone and talk to our friends and family because you could roam around the house, and oh, wouldn't it be nice to take that in the car? Mobile phones became accessible to the working class, for lack of a better way of putting that, to real people in the early 80s. And they were quite expensive, and the plans were absolutely impossible to deal with. They were just, remember, you had to pay by the minute. I was about 10 or 9 when I decided I wanted to get a mobile phone because I had a friend and she and I used to talk all day. And we generated great ideas. Wonderful things came from those conversations, and my life was enhanced for it. However, those days are gone, and you need to know the technology behind the phones if you want to work in telecom in a role that's actually going to pay you money versus standing at the kiosk trying to hawk phones and wares. That is difficult. That takes an actor to do. You have to act when you're selling things. I have very little passion for acting anymore. I don't mind watching a show, but I will not get up and dance around a kiosk and try to get somebody to purchase something. I don't enjoy that at all. So, because I do like the field, and that is the area of expertise that I studied in school and in university. However, all that technology completely changed about 4 to 5 years into my first job slash master's degree program. And what has happened is, now that I want to move on and be in a more technology focused role, I realize that it seems like 50% of my education is still useful. I have taken it upon myself to understand more, learn about the new technology, participate in the new technology, but at the same time, there are so many pieces of software that companies are using, and it's hard to stop my career and go back to school, pay another $40,000 or $50,000, go into debt, and then try to find a job that will hire me. On top of trying to pay off the debt I had previous, I'm still paying off student debt from the early 2000s. So it's become tedious and scary a bit because they want these skilled people, but this technology has only been around about 4 or 5 years. Some of the things that have been asked are SQL, Salesforce, Tableau, and other stacked technology skills. And some of this stuff is not even things you take at the same time, they're not even on the same course load. A lot of it is things for two different types of jobs, but these jobs are asking for both of those skills to be married together to do particular jobs. So we're like in the middle of a dilemma. What do? Do you go back to school? You forfeit everything, go get an MBA and work tirelessly through the night after work and on weekends? Is that the solution? For many people it is, and that's what they've been doing. I knew a young woman at a specific huge cable network. And while she was working, she went to school. So she was up 24 hours a day. Coffee and drugs, like, you know, things to keep you buzzing and awake where you're just not able to sleep. It's just better for you to work. Though your brain is tired, you do have the energy to keep going and just try and get it done. And she finished and got her master's. And she puts that MBA after her name all the time. And I totally understand why, because she so deserves it. And I think now she's resting a lot more, but who knows? She might try to get a doctorate in something. I don't know. So I too decided to sign up, and I'm taking baby steps. I'm taking small courses at a time. The issue is I need that higher paying job now so that I can pay off this lingering student debt. I spoke to a young lady who was a physician's assistant, and she got her bachelor's, I believe. She did not get a master's, but a bachelor's at age 25, 26, perhaps. Maybe younger. I don't know. I know she was in her early 20s, mid 20s. And she was 40 years old when she paid off her student debt. I remember her specifically saying, I just paid this off this month. 40 years old. I knew another lady who was a school teacher, and she is about 60 years old now, and she just paid off her student loan. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, she's about 62, 63 because she told me she's retiring. I don't know if she's retiring early or what, but I know that she says she's paid off her student loan just as she was retiring, and she wanted us to think about that. And definitely, I thought about it and I was horrified. Again, thankfully, I'm at a place where I think I can get this paid, I believe it, within 3 to 4 years, barring any unforeseen circumstances. So I'm being very careful right now. I'm making sure that any credit card debt I take on, I'm able to immediately pay it off so I'm not paying interest and all these other things. I think it's a shame what has happened and the way things are. It's almost like that movie Carousel where you don't have to be 30 years old to be taken out. If I'm not mistaken, you had to be 30 and then they would come after you or whatever. It was, or maybe it was Blade Runner. I don't remember. But one of those movies had this. It was a science fiction film. And people died at certain ages, and it was like a forced execution. And I feel like the workplace and the workforce has become a forced execution because you get about 10 years of good work. You get a window of 26 to 30. By the time you're 30, you really need to be in a good job that's paying you at least 5% above market rate, because market rate still is not enough to pay your bills and do what you need to do. I don't know what the solution is other than to take it slow, but you don't have much time. I was at a career conference this past week, and one of the things they were talking about is how ageism is real. And no matter what your age, you should be taking off your years of experience. You need to take off your high school and college graduation dates. That this is no longer legal for companies to ask you, how old are you, or when did you graduate, or what was your last salary. These things all indicate age. They cause discrimination. One of my parents told me that they were attempting to switch their position to something else, and the recruiter hung up on them as soon as they said when they graduated from high school. That they hit the disconnect button immediately. So you're not supposed to tell these things. It's nobody's business. It's a matter of if you can do the job. And it's just really rude when people attempt to tear you down for age or make assumptions about you, but unfortunately, it's a very combative, unnecessarily competitive, and superficial job market. I have found that I get assumed because I worked at that particular company that I'm going to immediately ask for $100,000 or that they cannot pay me. Some have decided they don't want me in their company due to skin tone. You can't even tell what skin tone I am. The picture is in black and white, but they still have this, I don't look like whatever the alleged majority is in said country. So it's difficult to get something. That's what my experience has been. So be sure to stay in school. It's not a matter of getting out of school and graduating. You should always be in school so that you can stay on top of the technology that's needed to do today's jobs. A lot of the things we were doing in the 90s, being assistants, for me, I was a teenager, barely a teenager. I was, maybe 13 mid 90s. So it was, things were different. And, I got hired as a receptionist because I had an executive presence. So that was a whole nother thing. That's no longer the case. People aren't even using those anymore. They're finding every single way to put a robot in the place of people, and it's biting them in the ass. So many companies have had to bring their work and their entire brand back into the States because overseas procurement is no longer working. People are complaining. I can't understand this guy. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Things are not getting resolved. Some don't have the best customer service or customer service that matches the culture that they are serving. So you're getting a lot of really uncomfortable situations. So I suggest that you quickly get back into some courses, learn some new things so that you can be competitive. It won't always work, but you can try. This has been another episode of Our Money Chats. You can reach us on Twitter at Our Money Chats. You can email us ourmoneychats@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.